Okay, so let's take a look at the reference. Alright, we can't see that piece we need on here, so let's close that, and I'm just going to see if I have a better angle. Alright, so back into the asset browser, and we'll just try to find a view where you can see that piece, maybe this guy. Alright, so there it is right there. Okay, so let's take a look. Alright, so it's just kind of like a wire bracket that goes around the breech. Alright, and the top looks like it has the tabs again, just like these with the screw holes in it. Alright, so I think the easiest way to make a shape like that is probably out of a spline. Okay, so we'll try that. So I'm just going to minimize that. And I think to make it a little easier, I'm just going to select the breech and get rid of all this other stuff. Okay, so right click and hide unselected. Alright, just to get it out of our way. And let's jump into the front view for this. Alright, we'll go back to the create panel to shapes and just choose a circle. Alright, we'll start with one of these, and I'm just going to drag one out here. Alright, maybe like that. We'll figure out the size in a second. Let's just align it to the breech. Alright, we'll use the align tool again. Click on the breech, and again we want to have X, Y, and Z ticked, and pivot point and pivot point. Say OK, and then let's move it down to the end where it needs to be. Alright, I think it's pretty close to the end. Alright, so I'll just stick it maybe right there. Alright, let's go into the modify panel. And to make it a little easier, let's just tick on enable in renderer and enable in viewport. Alright, just so we can see it actually with some thickness on it. Alright, and that looks kind of thin. Let's try up in the thickness a bit, maybe 1.5. Alright, that's probably close. Okay, and let's just tweak the radius. We want it to be tight against the breech, but we don't want it to be sticking inside there, so I'm just going to up this a little bit. Alright, let's just say 18 on the radius. Alright, that should be fine. Okay, and I think we're probably going to end up turbo smoothing this piece as well, so I'm not going to add any more sides or anything. We'll leave it at 12, and I'll just leave the interpolation at default. Alright, so just like that, and let's go into the front view. Okay, so we don't really need the breech in here, so let's get rid of it. Select it, and then hide selection. Okay, and I'm just going to turn off enable in viewport and renderer. Alright, just so we can just see the line. Okay, and we're going to have to add this sticking out piece here, this square kind of deal. Alright, so it'd probably be easier if we did half at a time, so let's convert this to an editable spline. Alright, and we'll just go to segment here and just select the two segments on the right and delete them by hitting delete. Alright, we can exit that. Alright, so I think to do the piece on the side, I'm just going to draw that with a line. So let's go back to the create panel and to shapes, choose a line. I'm just going to drag one out here. Start on the circle and just go out a bit, click and then go down, click and then go across. Alright, click and then right click to end. Alright, and to make sure everything's centered, let's go to the line tool again and just click on our circle. Alright, and just OK, and then let's move it back to the side. Alright, that way we'll know it's centered. Alright, so I'm just going to move it over. Okay, and let's go into the modify panel, and I'm going to go to vertex. Alright, we'll just zoom in here, and I just want to position this so it's straight along the top. Alright, and I'm just going to pull the vert in so it's just on that circle line there. Alright, we'll do the same at the bottom. Grab it and just pull it in. Alright, just like that. Alright, so we can exit vertex. And now we're going to need to be able to attach them together, and we also don't need these extra segments in here. So let's select the circle, and we're just going to have to add a couple more verts in here. So let's go to vertex. Alright, we'll scroll down until we see refine down here. Turn that on, and what that does is it just lets you insert verts on a spline. Alright, so we'll zoom in here to the end of our line and just click and add a vert on our circle. And we'll do the same down here. Click and add a vert. And we can turn off refine. Alright. Alright, and let's go to segment now and just select the two segments on the circle between our new verts and just delete them by hitting delete. Okay. And we'll go back to vertex, and I'm just going to zoom in here. Alright, grab this vert and just kind of line it up with the end of our line. Alright, just like that. And the same with the bottom one. Okay, just like that. Alright, so we can attach them together now. So with the circle select, I'm just going to go down and click on attach and just click on our line. Alright, just to attach them, we'll turn that off. Alright, we're still going to need to weld them up, so let's do that. Alright, so back to vertex. Alright, so let's zoom in. Alright, way in here. Alright, I'm just going to make sure these are kind of sitting on top of each other, these verts. Okay, and then we'll drag a selection over both. Okay, and you can always check over here and see how many you have. Alright, and then we'll just scroll down until we see weld, and just click weld. Okay, and if they don't look like they welded, just up your threshold here with the spinner, and then hit weld again until they snap together. Alright, and we'll do the same at the bottom. Alright, way down here. Alright, same thing. And weld. Alright, so they're all welded together now. Let's take another look at the reference. Alright, so we're going to have to round the corners over a bit. Okay, so let's do that now. Alright, so I'm just going to select both the verts on the outside of this piece, and we'll go down to fillet, click that on, and I'm just going to click and drag up on the mouse on these verts. Okay, and we'll just round out the corners a bit. Alright, doesn't have to be a lot, maybe like that, and let's grab the two on the inside and just do those slightly. Okay, just like that. Alright, we can exit fillet. Alright, so before we start working on the other side, I'm just going to save. So let's scroll all the way back up to the top of the rendering panel here, and I'm just going to tick on enable and viewport again. Alright, just so we can see it with the thickness. Alright, so before we copy it over to the other side, I'm just going to exit vertex, and then right click on this and just convert it to editable poly. Okay, and I'm just going to check the reference again. Alright, so there's a fairly wide gap between these two tabs. Okay, so let's go to polygon and just grab this section up here and delete it. Delete. Alright, and before we mirror it over, it probably capped the end at the bottom. Alright, yeah, you can see it capped the end when we converted it to editable poly, so let's get rid of these polygons. Okay, so I'm just going to go to poly again, select the whole end, hold Alt, deselect the sides, and just delete the cap piece. Alright, just so we don't have any problems welding it together. Alright, so just like that, we can exit polygon now, and I'm just going to change the color on this guy. Alright, so let's go back to the front view. Alright, so we'll zoom in at the top, and I think we're going to pretty much do this the same way we did for our other band piece. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is go to Edge, and just grab these edges here. Make sure you don't have back facing turned on. And we'll do a connect. Alright, one segment. And I'm just going to slide that over towards the center a little bit. Maybe -30 or so, and hit OK. Alright, and we'll just pull our tab out of here. So let's go back to the perspective view. Just going to hit Z. Alright, and let's go to polygon, and I'm just going to select the top 6 polys, holding control. Alright, just the top half. And we'll pull this out to get our tab piece. Okay, so let's go into the left view so you can see a bit better. Hit Z. Alright, and we'll just extrude. Alright, and I think on this one I'm going to do it on group, and I'm just going to lower the amount way down. Alright, it doesn't need to be too huge. Let's say just say 2 on the height, and OK. Alright, and back into the left view. Alright, so it looks to me like this flares out a little bit. Okay, so I think what I'll do is just go to scale, and just scale these verts out on the X. Just a bit. Okay, just to flare it out a little at the top. Okay, maybe like that. And let's check this out in the front view. Alright, we got the weird angle going on it again. So I think we should probably straighten this out. So let's go to vertex, and I'm just going to grab all the verts, right, just on the right side of the tab. So all these guys on the inside. And I'm just going to use the make planar options again here. Alright, so let's go down and hit X. Alright, and I'll straighten them all out. And then I'm going to do the same for this one here. Grab all these verts on the second loop and hit X. Alright, just so we have a straight kind of tab here. Alright, just like that. Okay, and the top's looking a little weird here on that angle, so I think I might just do the same thing with those guys. Alright, so I'm going to grab all the top ones. You can do this in the left view if it's easier to see. Alright, so just all these guys, and let's go down and just hit Y. Alright, just to flatten out the top a bit. Okay, and it doesn't look like it's perfectly flat, so I think I might adjust it a bit. Alright, so I'm just going to grab all the verts, not the end too, and let's go to scale. I'm just going to scale them in a bit first on the X, alright, just to kind of even out the segments here. Alright, so just like that, and then I'm just going to move them up slightly. Alright, and then grab these 6 in the middle and move them up a little bit more. Just to round over the top slightly, just like that. Okay? Alright, so we got the huge hole here, so let's fill that in before we go any farther. Alright, so I'm going to go to border and just select that border around the hole, hit cap. Alright, and we are going to subdivide this, so we don't want to leave a big end on here. Alright, so I think what I might do first is just go to polygon and inset it. Alright, take the amount down. Alright, just so we have another support edge that's going to hold the corner here. Alright, so we'll do maybe 0.1 on that, and OK. Alright, and it's still not quad, so let's go to exit vertex, or polygon, go to cut, and I'm just going to cut from here down to the bottom. Click and right click, and then I'm just going to cut across side to side to quad it up. Alright, just like that, so all quads. Okay, so with that done, we can actually start working on the hole. Alright, so let's go to edge, and we'll do this the same way we did on our previous piece. I'm just going to select all the edges on the tab and do a connect. Alright, and we'll do 2 segments, no slide, and I'm just going to pinch them apart. Alright, just to get the support edges for the top and bottom. Okay, maybe 85 or so should be fine. And we'll hit OK. Alright, and let's add some this way as well. Alright, ring those guys, connect. Alright, just gonna do that for a sec. Just want to lower that down a bit. Alright, maybe I'll do 75 on the pinch for these guys. And OK. Alright, and let's add one in here as well to hold this corner. So ring those, connect. We can just do 1 segment, no pinch, and just slide it over to the base. Alright, maybe 90, and OK. Alright, so just like that, just like we did on our other pieces. Okay, and I think that should support the shape probably fine, so we can start working on the hole. Alright, we'll do that the same way. Grab all these edges and connect. Alright, 1 segment, no pinch, no slide, and OK. I'm just going to look at this in the left view. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit more tricky because we have weird angles here, but I think it should work. Okay, so we'll just add the 1 segment. Alright, and I'm just going to exit edge. Alright, and I'm going to use a circle again, just like we did previously. So let's go back into the create panel to shapes, grab a circle, and let's just drag a small circle out here. Alright, first thing I'm going to do before I do that is just untick enable in viewport. Alright, I'll try that again. Drag it out. Don't have to go very big. That screw hole looked like it was pretty small. Okay, so we'll do maybe 0.4 on the radius for the circle. Okay. So let's open up the interpolation rollout again and just take the steps down to 1 again. Alright, just like we did with our previous holes. Alright, and I'm just going to move this circle down slightly. Alright, just kind of center it on this edge loop. And we have this weird curve on our edge loop there, and I think it's going to make it a little bit harder to cut our circle shape in evenly. Alright, so let's select the bracket, and I'm just going to go to vertex, okay, and we'll just grab all the guys on that center edge loop, okay, so 18 of them, alright, and then we'll go down and use the make planar options again to straighten it out. And if I just hit Y right now, alright, you'll see it straighten the line out, but it also altered the shape of the sides we have here. Alright, so to prevent that from happening, I'm just going to undo that. And we'll turn on our edge constraints here under edit geometry. Alright, we'll pull this down to edge. Okay, and what that does is it'll just lock the movement of the verts to the edges so they can't come off the edge. Alright, so with that on, we'll hit Y again. Okay, and you'll see it straightened it out, but it didn't alter our outside edge. Okay, and let's also move this edge loop up a bit. Alright, it's kind of hard to see the circle here, but I'm just going to try to center it like that. Okay, and we can turn this off, go back to none. Alright, and we can go up and exit vertex. Alright, so now we can do the cut. Alright, so let's go to cut and turn our snaps back on, and I think I'll just do this in wireframe view to make it a little easier. Alright, and we'll just start here and just go around like we did on our previous pieces. Alright, all the way around, clicking on each point, back to where you started, and then click and right click to end it. Okay, and we'll have to do it on the other side, so let's change our view again from right to left, or left to right. Alright, and same thing, just repeat the process on this side. click to end, and we can exit cut and turn off our snaps. Alright, I'm just going to change my view back to left. Alright. Okay, let's get rid of that circle. I'm just going to hit H, select it, circle O2, and delete it. Alright, so let's check it out in perspective and make sure everything looks okay. Alright, so we got our shape in there nice. Alright, so again, we're going to have to quad this up quickly, so let's go to vertex and just grab two ones that are diagonal from each other and hit connect. Alright, and again, you could use cut for this if you want to, doesn't matter. Same thing on this side, just quad it up. Alright, so just like that. Okay, and then we'll just push the hole through again the same way as before. Alright, just select those four that make up the hole, hold control and get the four on the other side. Alright, and we'll inset them. Take the amount down. I'm just going to cancel that for a second. Just want to check this out. It looked like I might have had two verts there. And yeah, I do. You can see I have two. Alright, so I'm just going to weld those together first. Alright. And back to polygon, and let's try that again, inset. Alright, if you have any verts that missed when you cut, you'll see a weird overlapping. You can see it here. I'll try to zoom in. Alright, you can see it right there. Okay, so that's how you can tell if you missed something. So I'm just going to cancel again and fix that on this side. Alright, grab these two, weld, back to polygon. Alright, we'll try it again, inset. Alright, so you can see it looks nice and even now. Alright, so we got them. Alright, so we'll do that maybe 0.02 or so, hit OK, and then bridge to punch it through. Back to edge, and we'll just add some support edges in the inside. So ring, connect, two segments, pinch them apart, just like before. Alright, maybe 90 on the pinch, and OK. And we can exit edge. Alright, so just like that. Okay. And I think that should hold up fine. We might have to add some more support this way, but we'll see how it looks. So let's save before we do anything else. Alright, save another copy. And we'll put the turbo smooth on here again. Alright, so into the modify list, down to turbo smooth, 2 iterations, isoline display. Alright, let's turn off our edges and take a look. Alright, so it looks like it's holding up pretty good. Alright, check out the rest of it, make sure everything looks okay. Alright, so that looks good. Alright, so we can copy it over to the other side now. Alright, so let's go into the front view for that. Okay, and I'm just going to delete the turbo smooth temporarily and add a symmetry modifier. Okay, and we'll probably have to flip this, so let's tick on flip. Alright, so just like that. That looks right, so we can convert it to editable poly. Alright, and put our turbo smooth back on. 2 iterations, isoline display. Alright, let's just take a look. Alright, so just like that. And again, it seems like a lot of work, you know, for such a tiny little detail, but you know, I just want to make sure this thing comes out nice and detailed when we're done. Okay, so that looks good. Let's put our gray shader on it and unhide all our other stuff. So I'm going to right click, unhide all. Alright, hit Z and just take a look, make sure it's fitting the breach properly. Alright, looks good. And it looks like I might have gone out a little too far on these pieces here, but that's okay. If you wanted to, you could always push those in a little bit. Alright, so let's name it. I'm just going to call it breach bracket or something, just so we know what it is, and center the pivot on it. Hierarchy tab, effect pivot only, centered object, and effect pivot only again, turn it off. Alright, so that's finally done. Okay, and we're going to still have to add the screw. Alright, so we've taken quite a bit of time on this piece, so just to save us a little more work, I'm just going to try to reuse the screw we have up here. Alright, we'll see if we can make it work. Okay, so let's grab that. And I'm just going to go to move and hold down shift and just pull a copy over on the Y. Alright, just over to where we need it. Alright, and we'll say copy, and I'm just going to change the name here. And just call this breach bracket screw. And OK. Alright. So let's select the bracket holding control. So we just have the two selected. I'm going to go into isolation mode, Alt Q. Alright, select the screw, and let's go into the left viewport and zoom in here. Alright, so it's massive compared to our little hole there, so we're going to scale this way down. Alright, so let's go to scale and just scale in the triangle. Alright, we'll shrink it way down. Alright, and we'll move it down. Alright, try to line it up here. Alright, I'm just going to line up the center line there. Okay, pull it down so it looks centered in our hole, and we'll just scale it up. Alright, it'd probably be easier if we're on the right side of the tab there, so I'm just going to move it over on the X. Alright, zoom in here. Okay, so just like that, and I'm going to scale it up a little more just so the screw actually fits that hole. Alright, so on the triangle we'll go up a bit until it looks like it's pretty close to the size we need. Alright, just like that. It might have to go down a little bit. Alright, just like that. Okay, we can also move it in so the head touches the bracket. Okay, and obviously it's way too short. We need it to be like 3 times longer, so let's go into the front view. Zoom in here. Okay, I'm going to go into wireframe F3, and with the screw selected, I'm just going to go into the modify panel, drop down into edit poly, go to vertex. Make sure you don't have back facing turned on, and we'll zoom in here, and I'm just going to grab all the verts that make up the shaft, all the threads, okay, and the end. Alright, so just like that. And it looks like it should be 7,320. Okay, and I'm just going to pull these over on the X towards the other side. Alright, just to stretch the screw out a bit. Alright, and we'll do the same thing. Just have it sticking through a bit. Just like that. Okay, and now we're not going to have threads all the way across the center, but that's okay. There really would be no reason to have those anyway. Alright. And that'll also help sell it that it's a different piece from our other screw. Okay, so we'll do it just like that. Exit vertex. Alright, we can click back on smooth here. Alright, just take a look. It looks pretty good. I think one more thing I might do is just go to rotate and just rotate this a little differently. Alright, just so it's not the same as our other one. Okay, so we could put the bolt on there. I'm not sure if we need to. Let's exit isolation mode and just take one more look. Alright, so I think I might leave it without the bolt for this piece. Okay, and we'll just say that's good for that stuff. Alright, so it's taken a while, but we're getting there. Alright, we got some of the most challenging stuff out of the way, so that's good. So let's do another save.